What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Hope everybody's having a great day. Getting into today's video, I'm going to be talking about some tips and tricks for The Last of Us Part 2. I have finally completed The Last of Us Part 2, and I'll be telling you guys some tips and tricks and stuff I found out in the game. I'll have some clips as examples, and some of it's going to be stuff I didn't have clips on, so just bear with me here and I'll try to explain some of it to you, and I'll be showing you the clips. Some of the first things you should know in this game is that if you get shot by an enemy and you get knocked on the ground, you can actually still shoot your gun while you're prone. And also, you can crawl up under almost any car in the game and hide. However, the enemies can still see you under the cars, so you do gotta be careful with that. And one of the other things is coming to like the boss enemies, like the stalkers and the bloaters. The bloaters, you can kill them with about 2 Molotovs, with 1 pop bomb and 2 shotgun shots to the head. As for the stalkers, they're like a mutated quicker. You may have seen those enemies like on the wall, stuck somewhere on the wall, let's say. And the reason they're like stuck on the wall is because of the vegetation. However, the best way to avoid getting even hit by those enemies or finding them is when you're walking to an area that you need a gas mask where there's spores at. What you want to do is be looking around on the wall. If you see blue jeans, stay away from there, and that means the stalker is right there. But moving on over to the next tips. And okay, for this tip here, you can use these bottles to distract the infected, get them out of an area. Like you just wait about 5-6 seconds, the infected will run towards that area. They're distracted on that, so you can pretty much just take off running full force like this. And you can also use this to lure the infected to where the enemies with guns are at. I'll be showing you another clip on that in just a second here, guys. And moving on over to the next tip. Okay, this tip here is really useful. Normally you'd have to press left and right D-pad to switch weapons. However, if you just tap your R1 button, it's automatically going to switch weapons. I believe that is the LB button on the Xbox or the RB button. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But that's a very quick way to switch weapons, so you don't have to open your inventory but press the right left D-pad. And another thing you should know is, let's say if you're walking up to a bunch of loot, like a safe for here example, you can hold down your triangle button and it will pick up every last bit of the loot right there. So pretty much you don't have to waste time looting like that. It's useful in safes. And one of the other tips you should know is the best way to sneak around is actually to use whistling mode. So if you hold down whistling mode, you can not only see the enemies, but your character moves as slow as possible, assuming you don't have the whistling mode upgrade. And this is very useful on higher difficulties because you will get hit hard moving really fast. And then everything is, if there's a bunch of enemies overwhelming you in an area, you can throw a bottle out one of them, and you can rush up and hit them. And you can get back in cover like that. And you can use bricks for this as well. One of the other things here that most people don't know is you can actually shoot off limbs and the enemy will crawl away. Like you shoot off their head, their hands, their arms, and every bit of that. And if you get your shots just right, you can actually shoot enemies in the leg. Preferably like the scars with Seraphites, and they'll get on their knees and they will stop trying to kill you, and you can actually use them alive to lure other like enemies over there so you can also kill them. And pay really close attention because the infected is your best friend in this game when they're in the area of the enemies. Like for here example, I can take this infected off the chain and it's going to chase the enemies. In another playthrough I had, I was in the subway and I was actually able to throw a bottle and it lured the clickers over and it killed some WLF soldiers, and that's pretty useful because otherwise I would have pretty much been screwed. And then you can just sneak around from there and pick up the supplies and we'd be infected alive. And if you're at a workstation like I am here, you'll see white and red text. The red text means you do not have enough parts to upgrade that weapon. So that way you can save some time versus like opening up and checking right here to see if you can upgrade it or not. And if you have your subtitles on, you can go in here and you can turn on the direction mode. And if you look at the bottom here when Ellie talks, there's an arrow pointing that way, so like if enemies are talking, it's going to tell you the direction they're in so you know where to go over to. And when an enemy is running up towards you, if you lay down prone, you'll actually slow down the time for them to be able to run up and hit you. And you're a little bit harder target because they have to slow down and bend over to strike you, so that's very useful as well. And another thing is, you should pay attention to your surroundings. Always be on the lookout for like birds and stuff flying away that will catch enemies ahead of you. And also, if you're like overwhelmed in a situation, a bunch of enemies and stuff, you can actually have your companion will actually take care of them for you or injure them, so you can run away and your companion will stay behind and they will be shooting at the enemy that was shooting at you. So that's another useful tip. And one last tip, real quick: the clickers in this game, they actually have like directional, like hearing and sensing, kind of like how a bat does. They go off with sound, but if you get so close in front of them, they can actually see you just like normal enemies do. I don't know why they added that in the game, really. I think it was a mistake, but if you're trying to sneak up on an enemy, just make sure to sneak up from the side or behind them. And you have about a 3 second window until you can grab them before like the alert finally goes off and they yell for help or alert all of the other enemies. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. If you guys want another video like this, I have some more tips on the back burner I can include. I just didn't want the video to be too long. And don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing. Check out some of the other Last of Us videos I have on the channel.